Morning, my name's Alex Hare, and like you mentioned, Heather, as she was presented with this opportunity to share just how the Employment Opportunity Center has impacted her life, she responded with great excitement and was really just kind of ecstatic to have the opportunity, even just as like a young woman, to share about her experiences. But as this morning, this event kind of drew closer, her anxiety over just speaking about the difficult things in her life that she's experienced and standing before all of you just really kind of grew in intensity. And she, while she would have loved to actually be here and share with you guys, just kind of pleaded for an opportunity to back out of that. So I am here kind of on behalf of her just to share her experiences. And she has written out, her and I together just worked on her writing some of her experiences. So I have that to share with you guys today. But there are kind of some components to Heather's story that aren't just unique to her individual experience. Just as myself and a few other people work with the young adults in our program, there are just really unfortunate themes of hardship that are common in a lot of their stories. The young adults that we work with are often homeless. I think 80% of the adults we worked with in this last year were homeless. So a young woman living in her car, the Heather, who was in a really small, unkept bedroom, like sleeping on the floor with multiple family members. These are the circumstances in which the young adults often come to the Employment Opportunity Center. There's also just with their academic skills, there's great deficits. So oftentimes they, after testing, score at a 4th to 6th grade reading and math level, and that is regardless of whether they have their high school diploma or not. And then I think something that's very striking to me as a counselor, obviously, is as you listen to their stories, there is a chronic history of just broken and unresolved relationships. So it's with these kind of things in mind in this context. I know Heather's not here to kind of physically stand before you and share, but it's with kind of like that backstory that I kind of hope that you listen, because this, I think, sounds a little bit tidy. You know, as she was putting it together with me, it sounds a little bit remembered and resolved, but it was just a year ago that Heather was homeless and an 18-year-old young woman who was really carrying the burden of supporting her immediate and extended family, and that wasn't so long ago, actually. So it's with that in mind, I'm going to read just Heather's thoughts. My name is Heather Rojas, and I am 19 years old. I grew up one of 5 children in poverty. My family has been poor ever since I can remember, and our family circumstances were not without difficulty. I was too young to understand the details at times growing up, but I started noticing differences between my life and those around me. For me, homelessness and the frequent moves were the worst. I would land at a place only to not know how long we could stay and when we were to pack our few belongings and move again. My favorite house, one that has since been condemned and torn down there in Wheaton, was without electricity more times than it was with. Our circumstances worsened significantly when my parents separated and later divorced. Not only did 2 small incomes become just one, but my family was severed from each other. My younger brother and I went to live in my uncle's home with my father, joining his family of a wife and 3 kids in a small home. There, my brother, father, and I lived in one bedroom together. A twin mattress took up one corner of the room. It was for my younger brother. A pile of clothes consumed the opposite corner. My dad and I slept on the floor. It was cramped, and we didn't often leave that room. These were the circumstances that surrounded my last years in high school. High school in and of itself was not easy for me. I grew up in a bilingual home, and while I'm proud to speak 2 languages, I admit that my literacy in both is very low. Not only do I not have a good foundation in either language, but because of this, I slipped behind in school. On top of that, I had a learning disability working against me and carried an IEP all through the school system. One of the only positive experiences I had was being close to the counseling staff. It was close to graduation in May that my counselor at school encouraged me to attend an informational meeting on a job program with Outreach Community Ministries. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after graduation, except for maybe go to college eventually, and I was drawn to the opportunity to develop a work ethic and skills, and as well as just a sense of overall confidence. The certificates and opportunities to improve my academic scores with a personal tutor seemed like the best next step in developing my career. I had also grown up in the outreach system in their after-school programs and knew that there would be kind people who would help guide and direct me. I decided the employment program was right for me. I have now been in a job for a year and was able to work the longest job I've ever had. My job coach continually helped me identify goals and think through ways I could practice them. Let me tell you, when you are naturally shy, learning to do customer service and answer phone calls is no small goal. We kept at it together, and my worksite supervisor was so supportive. I felt like people had my back and wanted me to succeed. I was even able to take training classes in Microsoft Word and Excel. And when I didn't pass my tests the first time around, I had encouragement to study a little bit more and do it again. I gladly report I passed my Microsoft Word test the second time around, learning disability and all. I transitioned on in my employment program and am currently working at Spraying Systems. They partner with the employment program, and the transition was an easy one to make. My job coach is still involved in my career path, and right now we are researching me attending College of DuPage while I'm working to improve my reading and math abilities with my own tutor. I am glad for a consistent job and that I can count on, and the flexibility I need to figure out my dreams and then pursue them. When thinking back to the start of the employment program, I remember the first day of our job class. The staff had asked each of us to print a colorful picture and introduce ourselves to the other students with how the picture described us. It was supposed to be a way to identify whose binder was whose on the bookshelf, but for me, it was so much more. I chose a beautiful and vibrantly pink flower. Why did I choose this? Because at that time, I felt more like the dirt than the flower. But I was expectant and hopeful that this program would help me blossom. Growth was and is hard, and I'm still for sure growing, but I have blossomed, and I'm more excited about my future than ever. So on behalf of Heather Rojas, thank you.